Yo, what's good, everybody? Want to do a quick video today on a question I get asked a lot around if I started today learning to code, how would I go ahead and approach that? The first thing that we need to understand is the paths and options that you have to take when you're learning to code, and then you can kind of gauge and match things to your own interests. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm just gonna make some notes as I go along because I gotta wrap this video up pretty quick this week. All right, so let's open up our file. I grade these paths on viability, and viability I kind of grade on a specific scale, right? So that scale for me is one, like, is the job in high demand? Is the job in high demand, right? Because we want it to be, especially when we're breaking into a field with no experience. Then how easy is it to get started, right? And then the third one is kind of the most important one in my opinion, which does it allow you to easily build a showcase of your progress? So can I capture this code easily? How do I then showcase that code? How easy is it to actually do that? So how easy to capture progress in a portfolio? And with these things considered, I then have these three paths that kind of talk about. There's more, of course, but when people are talking to me and they kind of just want to get started and they're curious, I outline these three paths and I kind of let them choose. So the first one is by far the most popular one, and I'll explain the reasons for that, but it is web dev of some sort, right? This is definitely most popular. And it has good reasons why it's the most popular, right? Like, if you learn JavaScript, one of the things you have to learn if you're learning web development, you'll also learn a language that allows you to do backend development, that allows you to do some of the other paths we're going to talk about, and mobile development, things like that. So JavaScript's pretty powerful. It's not my favorite language, but if you're learning with the intention of trying to create something and you want to be able to create as many things as possible, JavaScript's a solid case, especially if you're someone doing this solo or you're trying to just build your own business type of thing. Web dev is popular for multiple reasons. You also, of course, have to learn HTML and CSS. Right? So that's path one. The second path, I would say, is mobile, and I specifically mean like iOS or Android. Right? There's also this category of hybrid. So other frameworks like Flutter or React Native, which React Native is another case for that JavaScript learning, because if you learn JavaScript, then you can also utilize something like React Native to turn your JavaScript into mobile apps. So that's another reason why I think that's very popular there. But traditionally, for iOS, you would learn Swift. For Android, you use Java or Kotlin. Kotlin is more the newer way of doing it now. So that's pretty cool. And then you would also, from a hybrid's perspective, we'll just note what we said, which is around React Native, right, and Flutter for that hybrid kind of stuff. Okay? So that's one path you can take. Again, you can encapsulate and show your progress with each of these paths pretty easily. The mobile app is really cool because if you get to the point where you actually go and deploy that app, then someone can download it on their phone, and that's kind of cool. It's a good little trick where you tell your future boss, hey, go download this app I made on your phone. That's nice, and list it in a resume. But you can also do the same thing with web dev and creating a website and then publicly posting that. That's also something you can do as well. And then the third and final path is an interesting one, which is around kind of this DevOps and cloud space, platform engineering. But this is really focused on cloud. So pick a cloud provider, AWS, GCP, Azure, whatever, and learn their stuff first. Pick one first, start with one, and then learn about infrastructure automation, right? Tools like Terraform. You also want to learn about concepts around containerization. Right? I hope I'm spelling that right. Tools like Vault, all the specific cloud provider tools that solve these infrastructure automation problems. This one is interesting because it's a little bit harder in the beginning, I think. And I feel like that may be why a lot of people don't do it. So it's harder potentially in the beginning because you don't really have the context of being someone who built applications, and now you're learning infrastructure. But it's also simpler in a way because once you get into the world of building apps, there's a lot of like very computer science coding related things that you have to know. But in the DevOps and cloud space and infrastructure, stuff is usually relatively straightforward, even though it is expansive and you do have to learn how these different cloud providers do these very specific things. So those are the 3 paths I would kind of recommend out the gate. I'll go ahead and link some courses for you all if you all are curious on where to start, and some classes that might work across, I don't know, Udemy, Skillshare, whatever. None of the courses I post are sponsored or anything. So those are just ones that I find that I would send to someone I know. So that's it. Hopefully this was helpful. Have a good one.